Hello, everybody. Greetings of peace and welcome to our event this evening. My name is Anthea Alexander, and I'm a wellness coach. And I'm co hosted by Yogi Sanjivana, who is also a wellness coach, amongst many other things. And I'll let him introduce himself in a short while. So, for this evening's topic, our podcast session, where we've decided to discuss the topic of forgiveness, so the power of forgiveness. We could also term it as the art of forgiveness because I think there's definitely an art to it. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into forgiveness, what it means, how we can practice it, and what the benefits potentially are of practicing forgiveness in our lives. And not only towards other people that we perceive may have, erred against us, but also towards ourselves, because I think sometimes we can experience blame and shame and, I can't think of the word just at the moment, but we can beat ourselves up quite a lot.
Mhm.
And so it's also about practicing the art of forgiveness and the power of forgiveness towards ourselves. So I'll hand you over to Sanji and he can introduce himself and then we can dive further into the topic. Over to you,
Yeah,
Sanji.
thank you so much, Anthea. It's always a great pleasure to be here.
You're
So,
welcome.
um, I'm Sanjeev or Sanjeevana. I'm a meditation coach, and we do like mentoring, and then we do like a lot of charity work also. And recently, I also joined Anthea in this wellness coaching or like trying to promote like healthy products and all for people. So Anthea is my coach actually here. So and we are trying to like bring wholesome products for people because everywhere we see like toxins. And yesterday also I was talking to a gentleman who he lost his father, and so he was talking, and then actually the medicines that he was taking had actually damaged his insides, and then it had become very serious, and he passed away. Actually, the his father passed away, and he was very sad. So I was talking to him more than 1 hour, and actually my brother told like, can you speak to him and see? And I was speaking to him, and yeah, he felt better, but still that's a big loss, no, for the family and all that. And so more and more we realize like the toxins we have, and the things we eat, drink, and even the breath, what we breathe, and everything, and then even the fabric of our clothing and everything. Not, we cannot be afraid and do like that even, but at least we can be careful, and that will help people to sustain more. And so that's why one was a reason like we chose to bring out wholesome products and wholesome things for people. So, Anthea selected a beautiful topic today, the power of forgiveness. And so it's a great topic, personally, outward. There are so many aspects we can talk about this. So, Anthea, would you like to say some things about the products we want to like share with people, and what it can bring to people?
Sure. So, both Sanji and I can help people with improving their energy, weight maintenance, weight management, I should say. So, weight loss, weight gain, healthy weight gain, and weight maintenance. That's where I was skipping ahead a little bit too far. So, if any of those topics are something that you're experiencing or wanting to improve upon, or if you have family or friends that you're wanting to help, for example, Sandy is talking about that uh, gentleman's father who was experiencing, the detrimental effects of medicine. We don't make any medical claims, but what happens when we use these beautiful products, which are just food in another form? It helps our body to balance itself out. And when our body's balanced, our body naturally wants to be healthy. So that's what happens. So we help people to balance their bodies out so that they can achieve healthiness. So if people are going through particular ailments or diseases or things like that, we can certainly, again, no medical claims, we can't cure anything, but we can certainly help. So please feel free to reach out to either of us, and we can certainly have a talk with you or your loved ones or friends or family, and then make a recommendation, and then give you more advice and information if that's something you're wanting. And what we do is we educate and provide information. Then the rest is up to people to choose according to their own personal decisions and responsibility. But certainly both of us choose to use these beautiful products, and we've both achieved amazing results. And I know that Sanji has in the past few months or so that he's been using the products. And I more recently have been participating in 21-day challenges, and since February I've been able to lose 4 kilograms, and it makes a huge difference to my life, how I move, how I feel. So yeah, anyway, enough about those products for now, and let's talk about our beautiful topic of forgiveness. So, in terms, I'll just touch back onto the philosophy of our beautiful wellness coaching, which is 80% nutrition, 20% movement, 100% mindset. And the 100% mindset is where we come in with these beautiful conversations of a Friday night, these wholesome conversations which feed our mind and our heart and our soul. And also, we Sanjivana is a Yogi Sanjivana is a meditation teacher, and spiritual guide, spiritual counseling. I also host meditation sessions. I'm not a teacher as such, but I certainly practice meditation. And so both of us are really into mindset as well. And, having the best positive mindset that we can have, it really helps with everything. So what we decided when we connected some months ago, we decided that we wanted to work together, collaborate together, and to host a podcast or an open conversation event each Friday night and discuss different topics that are relevant to us and we feel that will be relevant and important to other people. However, this is not something that we're doing, although we benefit from it, it's not something that we're doing solely for us. It's about opening up this space as a sacred, safe, and welcoming space for everybody or whomever wants to join us to come into this space and to discuss what's of relevance to them. Just like Sanji was talking about discussing the death of his father with that son. So I know that was a personal, private conversation they had, and sometimes that's what needs to happen, and that's fine. However, this is a open space where people can discuss things that are meaningful to them. So we welcome anybody, as long as people are respectful to us and to each other, we welcome them. So that's where the background of our conversations on Friday nights. But this topic of forgiveness, so I mentioned, I think, earlier as I was introducing myself at the beginning, it's about, and Sanji also mentioned as well, there's so many aspects or layers of forgiveness. So it's about what we perhaps perceive that others have done against us. It's about what we may have done to harm other people. And it's also about ourselves and how we feel that we may have potentially harmed ourselves. Uh, what else? I'm just trying to read, making sure I can read my handwriting. Oh, yeah, I've written a burden that we can carry. So sometimes unforgiveness can feel like a burden that we carry. So I'm just going to read through my notes and then we can delve a little bit deeper into these particular themes. I also wrote about letting go or releasing unforgiveness. There's also different faiths, different religions talk about forgiveness. I had a quick look. The Christian faith talks a lot about forgiveness, and Jesus was certainly someone who is a well-known figure who talked a lot about forgiveness. But there are many different faiths that talk about forgiveness, and also I'm sure there are many different prophets, faith leaders who have discussed forgiveness and potentially really promoted it as a way of living. And also, Sanji and I have talked in our previous podcasts about, I can't remember the exact words. Sanji will probably be able to point us in the right direction, but about like basic humanitarian beliefs and practices that we, if we do these certain things, we're pretty much going to head in the right directions. And although forgiveness, I don't believe was specifically mentioned, it was like talking about don't steal from one another, don't kill each other. I'll let you talk about those.
Stealing, killing,
Stealing,
stealing,
lying,
cheating, lying,
lying,
and like intoxications.
and intoxication. Yeah, which can lead us to being in a position where we're not in our right minds and we can make decisions that are harmful for ourselves and others. But then forgiveness can come into those particular practices if those practices do happen, and then it's up to us whether we decide to forgive or not. I've also written down, I can't read that at the moment, but we'll come back to it. Patience. Why have I written down patience? I'm not sure. But I also came across a brief description in an article by Psychology Today, and it's called Forgive.
Uh-huh.
So the way they describe it is forgiveness is the release of resentment or anger.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't mean reconciliation. One doesn't have to return to the same relationship or accept the same harmful behaviors from an offender. So yeah, quite interesting as well. And I might come back to this article again.
Sure.
All right. So forgiveness. So let's talk about potentially what we perceive from other people when we might perceive that they have harmed us or sinned against us if we believe in sin, or we usually, feel comfortable talking about the concept of sin, or more recently, as Sanji and I have discussed, we had actually a 4-episode series on karma. And I can also see karma coming in here as well, because if people have acted in a way towards us which is potentially negative, then there's that aspect of forgiveness as well. And we might see that as karma or sin. So I would love to hear your thoughts about this topic, Sanji. So I'll hand it over to you to explain a little bit more about how you see forgiveness and the different layers, and anything else you might like to share with us.
Thank you, Anthea. So, forgiveness, like there were some places I saw people really forgive in this era. So because like there are people like in some parts they say like I don't want to be specific, but uh, if something happens like you should do the same. Even some doctrines, they say this, right? I don't want to point fingers at nobody, no. And in some countries, like there are laws, like even if a child something happens because they were playing, and then one the other child gets hurt, unless like the family of that child says uh, we forgive you or something like that, which is what part of what we are trying to talk here, no. Otherwise, like the same kind of thing will be done to that child as a punishment. So uh, not only that, like we are in a sometimes we are conditioned like as children, no, like sometimes parents also do the mistake, like say the child trips or something, and then they take like a stick or something and just hit that thing, or even if it's a root of a tree, and then the child is like crying. Sometimes they don't actually even matter because they sometimes smile, but oh, they look at the reaction of the parent. And if they say, like, if the parents say, oh, no problem, you come, they might smile again. But if you go there and they say, oh, did this hurt you, and they start hitting it, or like the elder sibling does something, and then you fake it, you sometimes keep your hand and you like show like you are uh, punishing the elder one, uh, because he was naughty or something. No, I pushed the little one. So then what happens? You get in your mind, okay, like if something happens to you, even if it's some root or uh, furniture or something in your house, so you have to do something back. Uh, but forgiveness is like such a powerful thing, especially within humans or all kind of beings. Uh, so recently I saw there was this like serial killer, and he finally got caught. And I was watching that, means like what happened and how could people do such a crime? And then finally there was like the court procedures, no? And then everybody was like cursing this person. You're an animal. You should like go to hell, rot there, and that is even not enough for you. All these things, and people are like, he didn't even have. He was like blank, and he was just looking at those people without nothing, not even anger or like nothing, just blank. Then finally, a father came. I think his daughter was taken away by this person. I think he was like kidnapping hitchhikers and ending their lives in a very horrible way. So he came and he said, I know everybody is like hating you here. Uh, but he said, sir, please know I am not one of them. Uh, I know you took my daughter, uh, but sir, just know that you are forgiven. Very in that very moment, this person who had a blank face with all these people cursing and he had done all these things, he started crying. So the power, like you can, but that father has to be somebody really like special, like very special to even to say something like that, no? And you cannot fake it, no? Like he had a big, huge loss in his life, and just to come to the person who, yeah. And I have seen like some other, like even the person uh, who ended her child's life. She came and hugged that person. It was another boy, and then that boy's mother also. It was like just a gesture to say, like, I still forgive you. Uh, so yeah, and like even when we see the life of Jesus Christ, uh, it's it shows in example, no, after all that torture and everything and being crucified, if a person can say, like, please forgive them for they know not what they are doing. My goodness, no, like after everything, no, even with the pain and the agony and everything. So those are like massive things we can see. Uh, but we can see like even if simple gesture of forgiveness, like Anthea mentioned, it takes kind of like a ton away from your mind. because you have to keep that anger going and on and on and on. And sometimes when you just, there are so many ancient stories talk about there. And yeah, that had happened before also. And yeah, this is one, and we all should cultivate, because sometimes we see like uh, how taking revenge, and it doesn't go. And I've seen like the street crimes, and how they talk about it, say like there are gangs, and then if one person takes another person's life, then they come and try to take revenge, and they maybe like they end like 3 or 4 people's lives. Then other side gangs up and goes and maybe another 8 people or 10 people. Then it goes on, no, like, and there are sometimes like generation after generation. Some countries, when you see, like, they are at war since we know from the time we we like understood things, no. So and suddenly they erupt into war, uh, and those people also have to sometimes carry all those things, but still you see like very kind gestures within that also. uh, so there were like incidents like in the Second World War and all. So these were people who came. I'm not telling which side or anything like that, but and they came to invade, and then finally they lost and they got caught. So everybody was like hitting them with whatever they could get, and they were like prisoners of war. But there were some people within that, they like they would come and try to give them, because it was like a lot of snow, and no, they have not eaten, not for like any specific reason, but they would try to come and give them bread and this. But these were the people who destroyed like their whole cities, villages, no, ended. So my goodness, what kind of stage of forgiveness one? No, they so practically they are doing it, no. Uh, yeah, the forgiveness, and the best thing is like we can like let things go, can carry on, because sometimes like maybe adults tell to their children, and then children, and sometimes families have uh, disagreements and all this, maybe over properties or something, or they did this to us and now we have to do something, it goes on. Sometimes it ends up in very horrific situations, and still it goes on, no. So yes, and they're like forgiveness is a great tool. We'll talk about it in different ways, no? And all as human beings, just without reaction, and thinking that it's justified. So we can talk about karmic factors also, and these way in different aspects. Yeah, it's one of the most valuable qualities of a human being, because we in the sense like we in like ancient scriptures he says mana ussati iti manussa. Manussa is humans. Mana ussati iti means like our mind state is higher. But it's not like animals are bad. We all love animals and all, but they just act instinctively. So they don't think too much, no. And so there's like a lot of ignorance, or there's like levels of mindfulness, and these things are very limited, no. Like recently a person, we had a discussion like this, and he was telling like I don't know how the animals, like say a tiger or something comes, and then they are chased by this animal, and then some other they escape, and then they suddenly like we like forget everything, and they start eating again. And he was telling like, what if like a tiger or something comes, or another person start to come to kill us, will be not like, he was like saying it was funny, like give high fives, hey, like I escaped, and we don't start eating and drinking again, no. But in a way, when you think in the long or like more deeper, there's a level of like ignorance also involved. Uh, but in a way, like we carry on that like trauma and all for even more longer. So, but but when you see like the real facts of humanity and all, uh, we don't just act instinctively, no. Animals, they cannot stop. Like when they want to bite, they bite. When they want to be aggressive, they don't mind who it is or anything. But this is one of the best qualities that separate us from. So as humans also, we say like that, look at that person is like an animal. uh, no, so like degraded themselves. Not that animals are bad, I'm just telling. The way of like wisdom and mindfulness and all had just reduced. Or somebody drinks or something and they are so violent, aggressive. Then like people say, somebody's like really greedy or like acting very nasty. No, in look at that person, like he's like an animal, no, he or she, So, but I think, yeah, like this forgiveness is a great quality that shines in humanity. It comes up in places like very unimaginable places of very special people. What are your points of view, Anthea?
So I agree with you, Sanji, that forgiveness is an amazing quality, or perhaps even a virtue of humanity, and that we've been blessed with higher level consciousness, higher level thinking abilities than animals. And I understand what you're saying. I really love animals and I respect them, but they do have their own instincts and their survival instincts. So they need to follow those survival instincts to basically remain on the planet. So otherwise, they can be eaten or they can be harmed or whatever. So they've really got to follow their instincts straight away rather than having time to think. And they've got to act, they've got to run away or they've got to fight or whatever. Whereas as humans, we certainly have those survival instincts, but we are not in such, most of us are not in such a position where we have to respond so instantly. So we can practice things like meditation and mindfulness and reflection and journaling and to, do some uh, inner healing work and uh, to delve into a bit more about perhaps whether we're carrying particular anger against somebody who we feel might have potential, we perceive who has harmed us, or maybe we're carrying some anger or resentment against ourselves that we don't, it's not really helpful to be carrying it around. And uh, so what my thoughts are that basically forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that we forget somebody's behavior. So we
Mhm.
might say to ourselves, we might come to the conclusion that, we do feel that the person didn't perhaps respond in a great way. However, we're just going to draw a line in the sand and we're going to say, okay, that happened. They acted how they did at that, perhaps that was the best way they could act in those circumstances.
Mhm.
And we're just going to let it go rather than allowing it to sort of smolder like some coals, like from a fire, that are just going to go on burning and creating smoke and perhaps creating destruction within ourselves. So it's about, letting go, feeling lighter, letting go of burdens, and moving on with our lives in a way that is beneficial rather than perhaps getting caught up in the past, which we've talked about, which can sort of become linked with depression. And yeah, so it's about living more in the present and also looking forward to the future and, yeah, setting down whatever the burden is that we perceive we may have been carrying for some time. The other thing I was thinking about while you were talking was about forgiveness from God. So I was raised as a Catholic or a Christian in Christian faith. And my experience was that they talk a lot about sin in the Christian faith. And I always felt that was really, it always felt very negative to me. Like sin is very negative. That's how I felt. And then when I was in my early 40s, I decided that I was going to embrace Islam as my faith that I was going to follow. And Islam doesn't really talk about sin so much, but it talks what I see. I'll just talk a little bit about my perception of sin. I tend to not use the word sin so much. I tend to use the word misalignments or describe it as negative karma, because sometimes we have the ideal straight path that we can travel on, but sometimes we just veer off the path. We're human. We're not meant to be perfect. And off the path, and it's about, realigning ourselves on that path. And so I feel that that's a more compassionate way to describe, if we feel like we've really made a big mistake, we can describe it to ourselves that we experienced a misalignment, and that we're going to revert back to a better path, or a more positive, fruitful path for us to travel on. And yes, and also karma. I'll let you describe that a little bit more if you like, but just negative karma. I feel that feels more gentle to me, a little less harsh than sins as such. So I'll hand it back over to you. Oh, I did want to say something
Yes, sure,
more
sure.
as well. So where my thoughts were going were that as a Muslim and as a Christian, but probably in particular more practicing Islam, uh, I I am quite willing and happy to ask God or Allah for forgiveness at any time. And I fully believe that He will say, "Yes, Anthea, I forgive you." And then my slate is wiped clear. And that's the end of that. And keep moving on. So for me, that is incredibly powerful, because that means that I'm forgiven. It allows me to release any burdens of unforgiveness, and that might be in terms of actions toward myself or towards other people, and then I can move on. So I wanted to add that as well. So if people, faith and religion is very personal and to each his own, but for me, that's a really powerful way of being able to live, and it always makes me feel incredibly lighter. So I'll hand it to you for more discussion.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, so like forgiveness has many benefits. Uh, One is like the emotional healing one can have, because these scars can go on and on. Like we talk about childhood trauma, no? So, so there's like a lot of anger, resentment, bitterness. It could happen like as a child even, but as long as like there's a part here, a huge part like with about letting go. But I'm not telling it's easy or anything. But at some point we'll have to do that or to realize. But because some people like they are not even alive no more, some people who had done something to a particular person, it can be very bad, but they are not even uh, alive, but still that person carries this, and that person is suffering. We'll talk about all story also about this, and then there's mental freedom, because when you forgive, you let go. So whatever the other party or like other side has to do with it, it doesn't consider you no more, and you don't want to be a part of it, because one thing leads to another, no? and it has like as if you're bouncing a rubber ball onto a wall or something. It bounces back. So whatever we put out, it comes back also. Either as a reaction. I'm not telling you outside is like a wall, but no, it's like that effect. There's always like something happens, no? And so if we can have like this mental freedom, uh, even if we were at a huge loss, and even improves relationships, like even in like a family environment or like relationships, uh, or friendships or anything. Like some people even cannot forgive like a very I'm not telling like if they do very big things, but still like you can forgive and you don't have to stick around. You don't have to stay, like Anthea said, like yeah, like forgetting is a different thing, no? But you can forgive. So then there are a lot of physical benefits, like if we are like not forgiving and all, like high, like or we are talking about the benefits here. So it lowers the blood pressure, reduces stress. You can even sleep better, and strong immune functions. Then you can move ahead. You don't have to get stuck somewhere. It's not like a sign of weakness, but actually a strength. So people can go move ahead, and it's like mature. Sometimes just people without even doing anything, but they say like, "We forgive you," no, I forgive you, uh, and they can get over their pain and difficulty. And definitely in spirituality, we really need. So uh, yeah, so if you say like, what is like what is not forgiveness? It's like not forgetting. It's not like it's not an excuse. It's not a excusing of somebody's like wrongdoing, uh, and it's not like a how to say uh, we can forgive them without like go allowing them back to our lives. Even you don't have to let since person says they forgive, that doesn't mean they have to get stuck with them, no. So yeah, like I also have experienced that like when I was young, very young, and there was this person like and I really hated no this person. Then after I went to a meditation retreat, and then they started say like use loving kindness meditation. The first thing I came, uh, but those days I felt like I wanted to remove this out of my mind, but I was dragging on things like, oh, this person did this person did this, and you want to keep it alive, the fire burning, but it's like really like then the first thing I came and did was like I went to this person's place, and I said, hey, you know what, I have nothing to do with this no more. So whatever and whatever from here, whatever you do is part of your doing, and I forgive you. I thought this person was like we laugh and like and but no, like he was in tears. uh, so he also felt it, no. And for me, like it was like a ton of weight that just was removed. That was like as if I was carrying a ton of weight on my head. I felt very, and then I went to tell that to the meditation teacher over there, and they said like, oh, "Did you come like to the next retreat?" I didn't know. I just said, "No, no, you won't believe. Like I did such and such. I went to just to thank because I felt good about it, no." And oh, we sent you a telegram to come to because there was a space in the next retreat. So they said, go quickly and bring your things and come back again. So I quickly went home, and I had not cleaned it just like the next day afterwards, right? From the previous retreat. And then I just packed everything again and came back. So yeah, like you can. So personally also, no, surely Anthea, we all have this kind of experience, not only me, no. So and yeah, please share, Anthea.
Yeah, so I have definitely got personal experiences of really clinging on to hurt and resentment that I've perceived, against loved ones. And it doesn't serve us. It just, I feel, it just makes us angry and, and then anger can affect our certain parts of our body. And so particularly in Western natural medicine, they talk about anger affecting our liver. So and I also know another story of a spiritual teacher, one of my Islamic teachers, and she talked a lot about anger impacting her life, to the fact that she needed to really do something about it. And she didn't even realize it was there. But there can be resentment and anger, and it could manifest in particular diseases in our body, or perhaps in other sort of physical symptoms. So I feel that I feel it's an ongoing work for me. I still feel that there is an issue there that I need to deal with, but bit by bit I'm coming to terms with it and letting go. I think I'm able to let go a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. So I think that the the lesson from what I'm wanting to share is that forgiveness may not be an instant thing. It can be something that we need to work on bit by bit by bit. Perhaps it starts with our self-awareness and realizing that we're holding on to something. And then we can, once we have that self-awareness, we can perhaps talk with other people that we trust about the particular issue, and then we can remove ourselves from people. I feel that that's perfectly okay if we feel that we can't. And that's what I've done in my situation. I've basically chosen my peace over feeling angry, which I still do have feelings of anger. So I would rather live peacefully, separately, away from the people that I feel didn't act so well. But I also can, I have a sense of empathy that at the particular time when I feel that that I was not treated so well, that people, we're all human beings. As I said before, none of us are perfect. And at times of like a great, when we're very emotional or not thinking clearly for whatever reason, if we have illnesses or we have other issues that we're dealing with, we don't always make the best decisions. And we can only ever do what is best at the time. And sometimes that's not a great decision, or we don't act as well as we would like to. So basically, I empathize that perhaps these people, these loved ones that I feel didn't act so well towards me, they were hurting at the time as well, and that they acted in the best way that they could. So I forgive them for their actions. I don't forget it, because I've learned from it, and changed my behavior. However, and still there's still healing that needs to be done. So it can be a slow process, but that doesn't mean that it's any less powerful than a quick process of forgiveness. So it can be ongoing work that we perhaps has been chosen for us, or that is going to benefit us in the long run.
Oh, very nice, Anthea.
Thank you.
So I found a nice verse, and it says like to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover the prisoner was you. Like this is just a verse, no? Like just a verse means a beautiful verse, no? So then like to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover the prisoner was you. So yeah, in a karmic factor, we can see like yeah, it's very like way the karma acts. It's we cannot find any justice there. So okay, I'll just tell you like an ancient story. Oh, couple years. So, but yeah, it's like very sad story also. This one, then other one is like, but still it has like a sad part. So there was, maybe I told also no, this like there was this young people, they took a sex worker, and yeah, they ended her life, and then life after life, she vowed like I'll take your lives, no. And then what happened was like over the course of time, these people became good people. Huh? They changed for the better. But this person was the victim, was the one who was always coming and ending their lives. Huh? So in they say like the last lives of these people also. This victim came and ended their life in like a demonic, like a or like yeah, it's like yeah, like a demonic presence, and was possessing animals and all that, and taking ending these people's lives. But so they says like these people who actually did the crime, they were even free from, they became like saints or enlightened beings, and they are not even born no more. But this person like now ending the lives of these such person who are pure, like falls into huge trouble. And it's like goes on and on and on until the day this person realize and comes out or start doing good things or is born in a good place. So the karma works in this strange way. So if that person say like I know it's not easy at all, no, but you are doing this to me, yet I forgive you, then that would have been the end of that. And those people will have to pay the price for what their actions, and they did actually. Huh? So actually, when people take law or justice into their hands, the karma is already structured, but they build themselves more karma. So those people, I'll just link it up with another story. Uh, so those days, like some time back, like when the kings were ruling, so there was like a good family, but a new king came to power, and this happens in now modern days also, no? And then what happened? Like the people who were very loyal, even if they were good, they were punished, or even like their lives were ended. So there was such one family who was like a minister or like a king's advisory. He was very brilliant and all, but he also had to pay the ultimate price. Huh? And then when this young king came, and all the families like, but somehow the child escaped. They could somehow find, no, because sometimes children look similar, or maybe they smuggle the child, but he saw like his parents being whipped and dragged along, and then they ended the lives also. But the father was always telling the son's name, and son never looked near, look further. But this child didn't have a. But this was his father's last words when he heard it, no, and he kept it. But he wanted to have revenge. So over the years, he learned skills that you need to work in a palace. And not only that, then he slowly, like as a very young person, he came into the palace, and he slowly went up and became one of like the king's most trusted persons. Uh, and then like he was so like trusted, it seems like king would be with like him and another few, because they have kings also in all his constant fear, no? So he would just keep even within his bodyguards also, he would try to keep the most trusted. So he was more than a bodyguard, and he was like really trusted by the king. He built himself up to that. And there was a time, it seems like uh, they say like kings and all, they sleep in fear, it seems, no? Because they don't know. And so he was like on watch, and the king slept, it seems. So at that moment, like he took the king's sword, and this was his like revenge, no? He came for all that, all these years, and he was like really going to end the king's life. And then he remembered his father's verse. And then, but now he's like a adult, no? And then the king suddenly had walked and he found this person with a sword. And he asked like, and they caught him, no? And they asked like, what are you doing, no? And he said, yes, I came to kill you. I'm the son of such and such. And then he asked like, why didn't you kill me? You could have easily done it, no? There was nobody around. And I remembered my father's verse, he said. Yes, what did he say to you? No, he said like when you were executing him, he said like, son, don't look close, no, look further. So I did. So that's why I was like, I didn't end your life. I was not just looking at the immediate. So then actually the king forgave him. Maybe the king became wise at that time because it must have been like another 2 decades or something when this young or the child became adult, no? So actually, he forgave him. Actually, his father's words saved him. So, like, so people look in the most recent or like what's happening in the closest proximity. They don't think they say, oh, like I don't care even if I go to hell, or like I would be singing and going to my gallows. They say, but it should happen to you, no? Huh? And some people take the pleasure, or like when you see sometimes accident or something happens, they also join in the mob, like who are like trying to beat up the driver. Yeah, they have done something wrong, but when we take that into our hands, we are putting karma for ourselves. Their karma is already constructed. Uh, but we trying to write even a thought of it, it seems. Oh, the words, oh, like good, like this should happen to you. Uh, So not that we are like clapping them on, no, cheering them on, like, oh, well done, like you did such a horrific act or something, no? But we should like learn to do the opposite. Uh, because that is the way of breaking that karmic pattern. Others is just like that innocent person who had to go through all the horrific things and ended up in the worst of scenario. Yeah, the karma has no way of like finding who is right, who is wrong. It's just like energy that happens. And it's working according to the way or the direction it's conducted towards. So electricity you can conduct, but if there's like a leakage or something, it can even hurt a child. It doesn't say, oh, like this poor child, I should not do this, no? If there's a leakage, if the child touches that, they'll get the electric shock, no? But if it's well sealed and used for some appliance, fine. Uh, So likewise, the karma also, it doesn't. It's energy, no? And the way it's like directed, like water or the fire or the wind or anything like landslide. It doesn't select, no. It just happens, no, because it's the way those reasons or came upon. But if we can change that direction, even in the worst of scenarios, we are victorious. And this could be just one life incident we faced. But like that father said, like look further, not close. And then, like in the long story or long journey, we are victorious. Maybe we were like, it was really unjustful or anything we had to go through here. But their karma is already made up. We don't have to shower ourselves with new karma. Okay, we paid the price. Uh, and we don't want more, no? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Anthea, please.
Yeah, I really appreciate that example because sometimes when we feel, so angry and resentful, and in the case of that son, seeing his parents punished and killed, that would certainly be very, very destructive. And I can understand how he would feel and carry that anger and plan and plot to get back into the castle and close to the king and work close to the king. And yet when he came to that moment, the wise words of his father were able to help him and help him to rise above the situation and to act in a way that was more noble and ultimately better for him and for the rest of his life, because it freed him up. And it's like that saying that you said before. It's like I can't remember the exact words, but it's about like building your own become a prisoner
Yes, sir.
by yeah, by not forgiving people. So he basically he could have become a prisoner. He already was a prisoner in his own mind because he was plotting and planning. But then when he got to like he was sort of standing at the door of his own prison and he could either close it or walk through it. And he decided to walk through it and walk out of it. And I'm sure that his father, wherever his father was, would be very proud of his behavior. Yeah. And as you say, I like the way that you talk about karma being constructed and just describing it as energy that doesn't understand rights or wrongs or morals or if children are involved. It just goes where it will go. And so there's there's the karma that's already happening regardless of what we do, and then there's our own responses, our own decisions, our own what the path that we choose to take, and they can be quite separate. So I think that it's wise to trust in the karmic way that will karma will deal with other people and other situations, and that we can be responsible for our own direction and our own life and also our own sense of inner peace. And you were talking about all those beautiful benefits, the emotional healing benefits, inner peace, so many benefits of letting go of resentment or hurt or whatever we feel that people have done. Might even be crimes against us. So letting that go, and it doesn't mean we're weak. It actually, I think, means we're incredibly strong and self-aware. Mm.
Anthea, please bring up the topic. Like we talked about external forgiveness, no?
Sure.
Sometimes people can hate themselves. They say they're ugly or like or how to say obese, no? Or like or even too thin, or like or like I cannot learn anything. I'm useless. No. So I'm a horrible person, or many things. No, people like self torture themselves, and it can go to the worst, like depression and even like suicidal depression, all the way right to the worst of things. So let's bring up that also. Like okay, like external forgiveness is a massive thing. What
Sure.
about like self forgiveness?
Yeah. So self-forgiveness, I think, is really, really, really powerful. And I think that so when I was growing up, we didn't have social media, but we certainly had advertising,
Uh-huh.
and advertising was very powerful. There was a lot of money spent on advertising. So when I talk about advertising, I'm talking about like big billboards on the side of the road,
Uh-huh.
uh, magazines, television, radio.
Uh-huh.
And what I'm about specifically is about self-image
Uh-huh.
and for women particularly. So as I was growing up in Australia, there were there was an image of like how a woman's body should be, the shape, the height, and the models. There were supermodels who were like 6 foot tall and very, very thin, and that's
Uh-huh.
definitely me.
Uh-huh.
It's probably not most women, but there were images that people aspired to. And if you're not that, and you think in your brain, if I'm going to be beautiful and people are going to be like me, I have to look like that. And it doesn't work that way. And it, but I understand that's very confusing, and I see it now in my travels. When I work in a supermarket part time, and I travel on public transport, on buses and trains and trams, and I watch people all the time. And I also do it as part of my wellness coaching work because I study people and their responses and their behaviors, and talk to a lot of different people. And I see lots of younger women, and they all are okay. So fake nails. So they have fake nails, fake eyelashes, uh, and then makeup and hair. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm just making a point that I feel that a lot of younger women feel that they have to look a certain way to be accepted. And I think that that's quite sad, because I look at them and I just think they are so beautiful the way they are. They don't need fake nails. They don't need eyelashes. They're beautiful. They've got beautiful skin. They've got beautiful, healthy bodies, strong bodies, beautiful hair, beautiful smiles. And yeah, so I have, as you can probably tell, I'm a bit passionate about this, and have some strong opinions and thoughts about this, and even to the point of with self-image and women and this happens with men. I'm sure, I have no doubt about it, but I'm a woman, so I speak from a woman's experience, that there are women who even have surgery to take out a rib of their body to make their waist smaller, or plastic surgery or injections of Botox to stop wrinkles and, you know, change their appearance. And particularly women who are in the public eye, so women who are models and actresses, and really rely on their looks for their livelihood, maybe to earn money. So they want to appear as young as possible. And then that comes into another topic of interest, and that I have a lot of passion about. Perhaps we might need to have an episode about this, but about aging and aging for women. And a lot of women really, really struggle with aging because perhaps they've been very beautiful in their, and there's all different types of beauty. I'm not saying that beauty is just physical, because I believe that beauty is in our heart and our soul and many aspects of us. But if a woman's been very physically beautiful, then as they get older, their hair might get grey, and their body, they might get perhaps some less muscle in their body. Their body's not as toned. They might get some wrinkles, and then all of a sudden they're dealing with that as well. And then there's other issues that go on for women when they stop being able to bear children. So they have menopausal symptoms. If they've had children, the children might have left home. So then they're looking, questioning their purpose. Why am I here? What's my job now? So what I'm getting at is all of these issues can make us question ourselves, and perhaps can cause us to be hard on ourselves. And we might ask ourselves, why don't I have a body like that model? Why don't I have, why do I have wrinkles? Why am I a bit overweight or whatever? So really, I think it's about self-acceptance, accepting who we are, and also looking at our strengths and our blessings, because we all have so many strengths and blessings that we can be so grateful for. And rather than picking on one tiny wrinkle that we have, how about looking at like our beautiful smile that we have, that we smile at so many people with, and our ability to talk and express our ideas, or our ability to be funny and humorous. So there's, yeah, so many aspects there. So I think it's very complex, and that I really feel for a lot of people because I don't feel that they are at ease in themselves. And I also feel that that's one of the reasons of having these discussions, is so that people can realize that we're all the same. We all have our own issues, and we all have, things that we struggle with at all stages of life. And that's really fine. And it's about being forgiving of ourselves and loving with of ourselves, and loving and forgiving and compassionate with each other.
Mhm. Okay,
I'll hand
okay.
it back to you.
Uh, so Anthea, like I found a nice poem. If it's suitable, I'll just put it in the comment. You have a look, and you please, if it's suitable, you use it as or say it as. I think rather than my like like tin voice, you will make a better version of it. So please, like, just have a look. It looks beautiful. So until then, I'll add some things about self-forgiveness a little bit. So please have a look, and it's in the comments. So
Okay.
just please see. So self-forgiveness, like I think it's a really necessity because in everything, like every practice of spirituality, healing, we talk all these things, compassion, everything. We need self forgive, like Anthea mentioned in big aspects, no, like in life and very practical. You can see people going through these things, and sometimes they hate themselves. They don't want to look themselves in the mirror. They cannot even smile. So some physician or somebody has to say, like, or psychiatrist has to say, go and like stretch your face, like they have to put like smiley faces and stick them on the mirror just to remind themselves, like you have to smile. So forgiveness, like self forgiveness, yeah, yeah, we talk about like external or people or some incidents or something, but like self forgiveness acts in like inner healing, trauma base recovery, all these kind of things, like they are always is a part. You have to self forgive, otherwise you cannot come out of it. So once you like heal yourself, it's so easy to forgive somebody else also, even if it was the worst of things. No, like some people, like after they went through, you can, when you are talking to them, like they say like, oh, like I should have done better, or like I have tried to save that person, or I could have saved myself. Why did I have go? I could have been more wiser. I should have not been there. But what to do? One thing, it had already been done or happened, and then the other thing, like nobody plans these kind of things, no, unless they did something by them. But still, like they will also need some kind of self forgiveness because when they become righteous or they understand what they did, but they, in their healing journey also, they will have to find a way of like forgiving themselves also for what they have done, no? So forgiveness acts in so many ways, and then in like healing journeys and all, even in spirituality, like reaching your goals or destinations, healing. So forgiveness plays a huge part, because at some point there's something that each individual, how to say, like suffers from. Even in meditation, to go beyond that, you have to self forgive and accept, or let it go. Or letting go is also a big part of it, but it has a big role in forgiveness. Even that anger and letting go without grabbing hold and burning yourself, or trying to burn other people, which burns yourself more. So yeah, like self forgiveness is also a big thing, physically, mentally, in the past, no, trauma, recovery, healing, all that. So, Ante, if that poem is suitable, it's so good, no?
It's a beautiful poem. Yeah. Yeah.
If you like, please share. Like,
Would you like me to read it? Would
Yeah, yeah,
you?
sure, please.
All right. So this is the beautiful poem that Sanji has found. So it's titled Forgiveness. It doesn't mean the pain is gone or justice swept away. It means you choose to rise at dawn, unchained by yesterday. It's not a gift for those who harm, but healing you allow. A quiet kind of holy balm, a gift, a peace you give yourself right now. It's an amazing poem.
It's beautiful,
And
no?
it really sums up what we've been talking about. And yeah, it covers a lot of points that we've been talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm. Very beautiful.
Mhm. So with that in mind, like to keep as a reflection point, we'll end our today's discussion or the podcast. So we
Yeah.
have some, we can leave in hearts and minds. No, this message. I could not find like the person who wrote this, but it was super beautiful. No, so
Very beautiful.
yeah, very beautiful. So thank you so much, Anthea, and for selecting these wonderful topics. And last time it was my fault we could not do the program, but not my fault also. No, like it's like the nature and everything, like playing. It's no, like how to say wonders, maybe like like so. And yeah, thank you for having me also, and for sharing experiences and everything. And I wish like for you and everybody, like for you, like a very good night and have good rest, and for everybody to have beautiful days and beautiful times. And we all learn to forgive ourselves and even outside, like, and we can find peace through that.
Yes. And I second all that Sanji has shared. And thank you so much for your time and experience, Sanji. And also sending all the very best wishes and love and healing vibrations for everybody who watches this video in the future.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much.